State and federal agencies are offering the public an early look at 4 new versions of the Desert Renewable Energy Conservation Plan. UT San Diego's Morgan Lee joins me with details of the plan that stretches from East San Diego County through Imperial, Kern, LA, Riverside, and San Bernardino counties. Morgan, thanks so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
Your article, you described that there were several agencies trying to work together on this to try to protect plants and animals, at the same time try to develop alternative energy sources in the California desert here. Give us a little, basically, I guess I'm trying to find out what the primary goal of this plan is.
Sure. Well, the core idea is to try and avoid some of the conflicts between energy development and habitat and the environment in these, really vast, unpopulated areas of California that suddenly are an enormous energy resource.
Let's talk about what we're actually talking about in terms of acreage. How much land and who owns it right now?
So the plan covers this enormous area. It's the size of Indiana or Maine, stretching from, Mexico up way past the Los Angeles basin. And it's out of that entire area, a small portion, relatively speaking, still bigger than the city of San Diego, is going to wind up having actual solar panels on it, actual wind turbines or geothermal plants. But the idea here is to make sure that it's working around the most delicate areas of the desert that really need to be conserved, not cutting off pathways for migratory species.
Let's talk about those species. There's 73 species you named were on this desert-sensitive desert
That's the working list.
Yes, but there's some actually contention over that. What's the contention and what's the one untouchable species?
Well, the one untouchable is the California condor, because as a lot of us know, that for generations, so much work has gone into preserving that species and making sure it's not wiped off the face of the earth. So, but the other ones, basically people are concerned about the methodology, whether something's being left out, whether they're appropriate. One comment by a panel of scientists is that where are the insects? Or these are all birds and cuddly things.
But it's not comprehensive
and
enough.
Burrowing owls and golden eagles. This is right now. There's sort of a vetting process for that, and people can still weigh in sort of informally this month, and then the big sort of official process starts next summer when there's an environmental impact statement and people make comments that are put on the record, and some of that gets settled.
I found your report to be really interesting because you named off a whole lot of different agencies, from federal to state, environmental. Kind of tell us a little bit about the big players. Who's really involved in this?
So the big agencies, there's 4 of them that are really heading up the effort. So there's the Bureau of Land Management. I'm just going to refer to my notes.
Sure,
some
absolutely,
of it's alphabet
absolutely,
soup. The California Energy Commission, so they're the ones that site power plants in the state. U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and the California Department of Fish and Game. So those are the folks that keep track of sensitive species and their habitats, and so that's the reason they're in there. So it's
and the Environmental Protection Agency, right?
Well, they're being consulted, and one of the things that's come up, it's interesting, is the EPA just completed a study where they found sort of already disturbed areas, and some of them are brownfields, some of them are just former agricultural areas that may have had some pollution at one point, that are near transmission, that would be ideal for putting power plants. And people were sort of raising their hands saying, hey, wait a second, have you just incorporated this work? That's one way to avoid developing untouched areas, would be to tap those areas.
Let's touch on this. There is a lot of criticism saying this is being fast-tracked. It looks all kind of nice and easy. People are talking and people are trying to get this done. But the criticism is it's being fast-tracked, but there's a reason for that, right? Talk about the mandate.
Well, it's being fast-tracked because there's government incentives. There's huge tax credits. The investment tax credit for solar, the production tax credit that was just extended for wind energy. All those things are driving this emerging industry, as are the state requirements that all retail electricity, that 1/3 of it by 2020 is going to be derived from these new renewable energy plants.
All right.
So to put the brakes on it, environmentalists are saying is actually not a good thing. You need to come up quickly with a conservation plan to avoid these to sort of make sure certain things aren't going to get ruined.
Right,
yeah.
and they don't have to go back.
The clock is already ticking.
The clock is ticking, but the public can still weigh in. How and where can they do that?
They can do that. There's a special website for the Desert Renewable Energy Conservation Plan. So it's just the initials.org, or if you Google that, it'll take you to it. On Wednesday next week, on the 9th, there's going to be a web presentation. So if you just, it's very easy to navigate that site and find how to watch that. And then there's 1,000 pages of documents that you can read if you have a lot of time.
Read through and weigh in on. All right, UT San Diego's Morgan Lee, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention and talking with us about it.